The Lawless Frontier. Part 1. These bad lands. Don't fool yourself. These rocks and this metal may be lashed together, but they ain't tamed. This far out, the only law is outlaw, and the only justice, last rights. So walk careful, hand on the swivel, hand on the hilt, all that, 'cause that glare you feel is the narrowed eyes of ill intent aimed at your honor, your heart, your head. And know this, your every step is set upon blooded ground, the whole of this shore. This is a wasteland built where few sought to survive. In the dim light of a lost age, this wild frontier was a fleeting hope turned final resting place, a graveyard at the end of existence. Some say you can still hear the screams, echoes of the lost and damned ringing from just out of sight. Don't believe him. That's just the stretching and bending of the supports, old metal moaning in the celestial breeze, the grinding of scrap and stone, calling out, giving warning. These tettered lands be not safe. This twisted reef be not kind. Excerpt from C.C. Lagrange, Translations of Writings and Observations from the Tangled Shore, a Fallen Text. There's no way that's a direct translation. Kate 6. By thy tongue be damned. Even here, the whispers persist. Faint, but present. An excerpt from C.C. Lagrange, Translations of Writings and Observations from the Tangled Shore, a Fallen Text. A drag fell, left to die. A forgotten pirate set on a path toward salvation. His crew had raided the moon looking for ether. They found only death, and then he was alone. Hyrax the small, Hyrax the timid, the weak was lost to the depths of Hellmouth, a solitary scavenger down among the hollows where dead things dwell. How he survived is a story untold, an impossible tale known only to Hyrax himself. In that secret is his strength. For poor, weak, pathetic Hyrax came out of that hell as something other, still fallen, still alone, but changed by all he'd seen and learned. His mind opened, set adrift through the wonders of all nightmares he had never imagined. Some say he spent his time hidden in the shadows of that cruel land, skirring the mysteries of the world's grave. Others suggest he peered into a hateful shrine and found truth in the unutterable horrors whispered from the abyss. Truth is, only Hyrax knows. Truth as simple as it is puzzling. Yes, he did. Scoured the grave, heard the whispers. Only then could all that followed transpire. For a lowly drag to rise from their docking to stand as a baron is rare enough. But that a fallen of any stature could crack the layers of understanding that barricade the known universe from the ascendant plane is more than improbable. It was impossible. Until it wasn't. For Hyrax succeeded where so few have. He crafted his own throne world and began a monstrous quest to expand his knowledge, etching its harshest truth upon its enemies. And his work has progressed unchecked. It is his name that children do not speak when sharing tales of the haunting of Nemesis. It is his blood that paladins and corsairs alike wish to spill for the slaughter of Gaspra. Hyrax the Twisted, Hyrax Ascendant, the mindbender whose tongue is a weapon, whose experiments seek to unravel sanity and reshape imagination that his subjects may become other tools of his vile bidding. And so the warning spread. When the fallen who speaks in the language of the damned calls, do your best not to listen. For once his words take hold, your will shall fade, replaced by its antithesis. And then, like that poor, weak, fallen drag, you too will know darkness. You too will be alone. riddled with lies. Trust is your shield. Trust is your weakness. In the end, we all fall to betrayal. Excerpt from C.C. Lagrange translations of writings and observations from the Tangled Shore of Fallen Text. A simple riddle for you to consider. Only truth can conquer lies, but what is truth, and in whose eyes? What then of the butcher of Bamberga? What then of the Psyche Horde's slayer? The terminus of the Grey Legion? The sliver of the Shadowed Vale? The bandit of Old Bossa? The dire siren of Valion's Reprieve? The trickster, the liar, silver-tongued Arashkes the wit. See who bartered with the spider and nearly cost him his life. See who swindled a dozen bounty hunters, that sea alone may profit. So many tales of Arashkes' sleight of hand and tongue and mind. The enemy who has won battles where no battle was fought, who has killed more rivals than have ever risen to her challenge. What is known and unknown, none can say. And this sly prankster would have it no other way. Of all the barons marked by scorn, it is Arashkes to fear, for her greatest weapon is the dissolution of truth. She will give you certainty, only to reshuffle the deck. She will grant you your desire, only to reveal its truly regret. If this realm can allow for gods, then she may be the first among devils, unknowable, unpure. Her tongue will cut you down long before your body falls. If you find yourself questioning the depths of her deceit, ask yourself a simple question. Did you kill her? And if you did she die? If the answer is yes, her trap is set. If your answer is, it's okay. You don't have to say it. Maybe you will survive out among these wild shores longer than most, though maybe not as long as you'd like. Anguish tenfold. Be wary of those who would do harm, yourself included. Mind that you do not become undone. For once infliction is tinged with joy, you are not but a beast. And are we not more than that? Do we not strive for better? Excerpt from C.C. Lagrange translations of writings and observations from the Tangled Shore of Fallen Text. It was Rex's Vaughn who saw to the final days of the House of Wolves. With cold hatred he hunted and slaughtered their servitors until none remained, and thus a rabbit house did fall. But Rex's Vaughn's rage was not sated, as the wolves alone were not the architects of his fury. All fallen who clung to the ritual of house politics were his enemy, total and complete. It is told that he starved as a young drag. He watched in agony as others grew strong while he and his closest brothers and sisters were kept low. They were unworthy, pathetic, unwanted. But Rex's was ever aware. He saw the lie of the Archon's worship, how his servitors were revered upon a pedestal of godhood as means to control the masses. Maybe there was a time when the fallen theology was one with greater concerns. No more. The house is fractured, at war with one another. Old grace is long since neglected in favor of a more desperate purpose, survival. While cast low, Rex's found strength in his growing hatred. Only when he found common disdain among those twisted outcasts who would call themselves scorned, who wore their hatred derision as a badge of honor, did Rex's also find an outlet for his anger. His new brothers and sisters saw great value in his unjacked aggression. They were all a bit mad in their own right, all a bit twisted. But where others slipped towards insanity, Rex's mind and intent were clear. The agony of a terrible death was his aim. The target of his wickedness, the very servitors he had been denied, the very machines that sustained the fallen. He would tear and slice and rend their metal until their hissing deaths rang across the shore, the reef, no, the entire system. He would make all who do not stand with the scorn barons feel the anguish he once felt tenfold. And he would do so gleefully, watching the life drain from their eyes. a blind eye toward tomorrow. They who draw mustn't always draw first, for it's not speed that kills, but the eye, keen and sharp. So, then do not feel deaf, see it, know it, and it shall manifest upon the trigger's embrace. An excerpt from C.C. Lagrange's translations of writings and observations from the Tangled Shore, a fallen text. Pirha, the phantom, Pirha, the blind, the fallen baron with the all-seeing eye and a crack shot. The awoken link him to the legend, the ghost of Hellrise Canyon, believing it was Pirha, and Pirha alone who haunted the winding depths, picking off intruders and holding off corsair raiding parties as his fellow barons planned their violent reign in the maze of caverns near the canyon's heart. He was unseen during the Wolves' uprising, but many credit him with the assassination of the Queen's Palace Guard. None can verify, but each fell to a single shot, clean, precise, fatal. But how can a blind pirate who had been discarded and scorned by his house become the deadliest shot this side of Mars? This is where the Baron's true strength hides. They are each a devil worthy of your hate, but together they are much more. Not simply devils, but hell itself, manifest, angry, and aggressive. Rumors and legends merge to tell of the machinist's expert hand, the rifle's cybernetic eye, and a link between his sight and the tracking systems on his rifle. What he sees, he hits, and what he hits, he kills. There is evidence of fallen given themselves to technology, becoming more as they marry their physical selves to enslaved mechanics. The mercenary Tanix is one example, more machine than fallen now, and an abomination in the eyes of traditional fallen belief. The splicers and their augmentations for Siva, a twisted experiment brought low by the mighty hand of the heroes of iron. Is Pirha any different? The barons and Tanix and the splicers are each and all individual dangers, driven by their own ambition. They are more likely to wage war with one another than to see their commonality. Yet, are they not of a kind? Are they not evidence of something greater wending its way through the fallen's dying culture? Are they not the warning signs of new terrible evolution? One can only wonder and hope these horrid amalgamations of life and technology are simply outliers and not a promise of tomorrows yet to come. Well met, fellow Guardian. I started out this project in means of practicing and improving my own English since I'm not a native speaker. I figured the best way to do this was to read a lot and read it out loud. And aren't these Destiny Lord Triumphs the best text to start with? If you enjoyed this kind of content, make sure to... you guys know what to do when you like a video on YouTube, right? Depending on popularity, I might end up reading all the lore pieces. That would be fun. Thank you for listening, Guardian, and stay safe out there on the reef. And hopefully, I'll see you in the next video.